In most countries, the large cities are where life happens. London pulses with history, where its towering spires and iconic bridges reflect the heart of a nation. Tokyo hums with energy, a never-ending electric beat in a city that doesn't sleep. These urban behemoths are the lifeblood of economies, the veins through which commerce, culture, and politics flow. But then there are the places you've never heard of, places that don't show up on the typical travel itineraries, that don't seem to be a part of the modern world's rush. And there's one city in Southeast Asia that stands out not for its fame, but for its eerie emptiness. This city, Naypyidaw, is unlike anything you've ever imagined. You've likely heard of Myanmar's former capital, Yangon, known as Rangoon in another time. It was a bustling city full of life, government, and trade. But in a stunning, inexplicable move, Myanmar's military regime decided to up and leave it behind. The capital shifted suddenly without explanation to Naypyidaw, a city with no real history, no landmarks, no reason. What followed could only be described as strange. Naypyidaw is an enormous, almost surreal city, one that has enough infrastructure to accommodate over 1 million people. To put it into perspective, Naypyidaw is 6 times larger than New York City, yet it's almost entirely devoid of people. Imagine a city built to house the population of 120 Manhattans, and yet only a handful of people live there. The streets, eerily wide and quiet, stretch out like a ghostly skeleton waiting for the life that never arrived. And then there's the mystery of how it came to be. Before Naypyidaw, the land was nothing but dense jungle, untouched and wild. Then, seemingly overnight, it became the new capital. But no one knew when the construction began, who was behind it, or why this particular plot of land was chosen over others. What's even more curious is the fact that Naypyidaw is completely off-limits to Westerners. The government keeps the city under strict surveillance, with only government-approved photographers allowed to capture what little there is to see. A few local government workers roam the streets, but even they seem like strangers in a place they don't quite belong. The city, once buzzing with grand plans and billions of dollars in investment, is now an empty shell. Hotels with no guests, restaurants with no customer, Wi-Fi that rarely gets used. In a place built for an overwhelming amount of people, it's common to see just a handful of pedestrians walking aimlessly along highways meant for traffic. And those wide open roads, they're barely used. The city's construction, designed for high volumes of traffic, now only serves as a reminder of the plans that never materialize. When the government claims that Naypyidaw's population is 924,000, you have to ask, where are they? Rumors about Naypyidaw have swirled for years. Most of them are strange, unsettling, and frankly, impossible to ignore once you begin to peel back the layers of this ghost city. Some say the city was built for a reason, a hidden agenda. Others whisper about secret underground tunnels that stretch beneath the vast empty roads, weaving through the silence like arteries of a city that was never meant to be seen. But the strangest part, there's no way to know. Naypyidaw's mysteries are locked away behind the walls of a place that's practically a fortress. Access is forbidden. No outsider can step foot into this vast, lifeless city without government approval. The only evidence of its existence comes from those few brave enough to take photos that somehow make their way onto social media, sparking a viral frenzy of speculation. There are photographs of empty streets, photographs of imposing buildings with no window, photographs of grand hotels that have never seen a guest. One image in particular captured a haunting moment. A lonely highway stretching endlessly through the empty expanse of the city with only a single car parked under a lamppost. And yet, even in the loneliness of the frame, the emptiness felt like it was watching, waiting for someone to understand. But understanding seems impossible. The government's reasons for constructing Naypyidaw remain shrouded in secrecy. Were they preparing for something? Was this an evacuation center, a military outpost, or something even darker, a place to control, to monitor, to isolate? What's more troubling is that despite the lavish design of the city, the same government that built Naypyidaw refuses to live there. They work in Yangon, continue their affairs in the old capital, leaving the ghost city behind, as if it were never meant to be inhabited. And then there are the people, or, more accurately, the absence of them. For a city designed to hold over 1 million people, the only faces you'll see are government workers walking slowly, as though they too are lost in the immensity of the place. No children playing in parks, no tourists visiting landmarks, no bustling streets, just the occasional figure walking across wide deserted avenues, their footsteps swallowed by the vastness. And when the sun sets, the city grows even quieter. Some believe that Naypyidaw's construction was part of a larger plan, a remnant of the country's military dictatorship. Others speculate that it's a psychological experiment, designed to make the people of Myanmar forget what they once had, to erase their history, their connections to the past. But one thing remains clear, Naypyidaw is far more than an abandoned city. It's a living enigma. No one knows the truth, and that's what makes it so unsettling.